Am I live? I don't know. Is anybody here? I hope I'm live. Can you hear me? Oh, good. Can you hear me? Is the connection great? I'm so happy you're here. Is everything good on your end? Tell me, tell me. Hello, yes, yes. Okay, awesome. This is so great. All right, so you guys, we're gonna do so much today, and I can't wait. It's gonna be phenomenal, and you're gonna learn a lot, and I hope you have your chart. Let's see if I can print this out. Hold on one second. It's going to be a little bit loud. Yeah, I'm going to print this. Everybody's here. Wow, you guys all found me. Yes. Hi. Hi, you beautiful people. It's going to be really loud. Gosh, my printer is on its last leg, of course. And I doubt it will make itself through Mercury in retrograde. Yeah, I got my whole rocket ship up here, so hopefully I can teach you guys all about this eclipse and what's happening. So I hope you guys have your chart. So does everybody have their chart? And let's see. I know Susie's going to come to help me, Susie and Connie, and hopefully Stacy will be here to help me field the questions. It's so hard to do the questions and teach and talk and be funny. So you guys have your chart. Hopefully, oh, there's Stacy. Awesome. So Stacy, I'm so glad you're here and you can help answer any questions that come up. Stacy's so knowledgeable and she's a numerologist. She's an energy worker and healer. She's a brilliant reader on my team and she knows tons about astrology. So she can help you too. Now, here's your chart, right? And hopefully you guys have one of my charts. And if you don't have one of my charts, just go to soulnavigation.com and then click on the shop tab and I'll make you your gorgeous chart. But mine's all color coded and it's super easy to read. So you can look in the wheel where you have 5 degrees Sagittarius and directly opposite of that, you're going to have 5 degrees Gemini. And I want you to find that point in your chart. Okay. So tomorrow at about 4:13 in the morning. So when you wake up in the morning, if you live in the United States, we're going to be inside our total lunar eclipse. And it's a super moon. And it's probably one of the most pivotal, potent, important days of the year. Now, I want to tell you something. It's already starting right now, and it already started probably 10 days ago. And we're in eclipse season. Ooh, I just got chills. So what I want you to know is I am going to tell you kind of the hard stuff. When I looked on YouTube and I saw the different videos that people are making about the eclipses, they're just lovely and there's so much beautiful information out there. And I recommend that you watch a lot of different channels so you can see what fits for you. But I'm just going to tell you that I thought that a lot of people really focused on, oh, all the positive things that this lunar eclipse full super moon is going to bring you. And that's great. And I am an optimist. I am a true optimist. I'm a born optimist. But I think that this is a much harder eclipse than most of the material that I found out there. Saying that, I don't want to set you up for a big fear, Game of Thrones fear, but this is how I come to the optimism. If I know to expect something difficult or challenging, I can prepare myself mentally to create a counterbalance so I can genuinely stay in my faith and my hope and my optimism. So that's how I kind of work. And I also feel that we can thwart the energy. I feel like if I kind of know the arena that this thing wants to play with me, and toy with me, right? Where I'm not the cat. We are not the cat in the story. We are the toy. in the cat's mouth in this story. So if I can know that, then I can create counterbalance thinking and I can change the outcome. So that's kind of how I see this. This is a full moon eclipse. When you have a solar eclipse, that's a new moon and that's blessings galore. That's the confetti sprinkling down on you and you getting to be a rock star. No, this is a goodbye. This is a letting go. This is pulling the band-aid off. This is where in your world is there a potential for collapse? Now, I have found, excuse me, in my wisdom of 54 years, God, can you believe I'm that old? 54 years, I have found that some of the hardest moments in my life and some of my biggest mistakes have actually turned into the most gargantuan blessings that I couldn't know about. So hardships and hard times oftentimes are enormous blessings. Like what Michael Jordan said, he is a great basketball player, maybe the greatest basketball player, not out of the hoops that he won, but the baskets that he missed. So, and it built him. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of this. So I want to give you guys the skinny. I want to give you the real. I want to give you the truth. Oh, good. Connie Joe is in the house and Susie's here too. This is so awesome. So you guys, if you have questions, Stacy's here. I think it's Stacy, Connie Joe, and Susie, and they will answer your questions. Woohoo! Okay, good. So just write out your questions. Like if you didn't understand something that I meant, they can expand upon it. They can help you figure out where your 5 degrees is. If you don't know where your 5 degrees Sagittarius is, raise your hand, and maybe Connie or Susie or Stacy can help you figure it out because you need to know. And then they've got the wrench. So they're going to bounce any trolls that come and pick on us. I haven't had trolls in like forever, like over a year. I love having you all here. I feel like I know all your names and I just really appreciate your love and support. And then at the end, I want to tell you, Connie Joe, she's one of the amazing readers on my team. If you have not gotten an astrology reading with Connie Joe, you really should. And Susie, if you haven't gotten your reading or your mini love reading with Susie or Stacy, you guys really should. You should go book on their calendars. But Connie Joe got me into, funny, I picked the devil card. I told you, I'm going to tell you the truth today. It's going to be the truth. She got me into the Light Seer deck. Oh my God, this deck is so juicy. So at the end, if you want to send me a super chat, I'll answer your question and I'll pull a card for you. Okay? So, and I love all my super supporters here. So this is wonderful. Okay, great. So Deandre needs to know how to find her 5 degrees. You got to be able to read the wheel. So the 5 degrees, you're going to have to go to the glyph of Sagittarius. And then you're going to have to see where 5 degrees is. And then you're going to have to read what house it's in. Okay? So let's start. We are entering our eclipse season, and this is a massive, massive day tomorrow. But it's almost like, however this impacts you, it's going to take all the way until December for many of you to even see what this is in your life, to see it unfold. It's going to take all the way until we're in the Sagittarius sun with a full moon in Gemini, which is the reverse of what we have right now. It's going to take you till December, I think it's December 13th, to figure out the total story. Eclipses are not about a day and they're not about a week. They're about a chapter in your life being revealed to you and unfolding. And we've got this eclipse happening on May 26th, which is tomorrow. And if you already live in Tomorrowland, like you're over there in Asia, or if you're in Africa or in the Middle East and it's already tomorrow, then this is happening later tomorrow for you or the next day. So this is happening tomorrow for everybody. And we're going to have the Gemini new moon solar eclipse on June 10th. So you probably will have an idea of what this is by June 10th, but you won't see how it plays out and what fruit is born from this chaos or crisis or crumbling or goodbye or letting go or surrender, probably until the end of the year. And then we're also going to have another eclipse, write this down, on November 19th. And that one's going to be in the Taurus Scorpio axis. And then I said December 13th, but I meant December 3rd is when we're going to have that Sagittarius Gemini final eclipse. And that's where we put the period at the end of our chapter that we're starting to experience right now. So we only have 4 eclipses this year, and usually we get 6 in a year, but thank God, because I think we had 6 last year and that was a mess, right? Oh, good. They're talking to you. I love it. So what you're going to see right now is the energy is moving super chaotically fast. Why? Well, I don't know if there's anything faster than Sagittarius and Gemini energy, truthfully. I mean, Aquarius energy is up there too, but this is a really fast axis. And this is a faster axis than the Leo fixed sign Aquarius axis because this is both mutable. So Sag together and Gemini are like energy that feels almost impossible to contain. So I think of it like a roaring forest fire because it's mutable fire. So it's just vast and massive. And then think of little you inside a roaring forest fire, right? What does it feel? It feels daunting, it feels overwhelming, and it feels hot, and it feels dangerous, right? Well, that's where you're standing right now. But I'm going to give you the remedies on how to manage the forest fire. So we're not going to leave you just with the doom and gloom, but I don't want to pretend that it's super fun and fabulous when it's not. It's not super fun and fabulous. It can be, great things can be born from it, but it's not like it's just a super fun, jolly old good time. No. So it's going to be a big boom, pop, pow, wow, burst of energy, right? And it's going to be, you're going to start to feel right now that there's a piece of you, and I'm going to tell you which piece, and I'm going to give it to you so accurately. I want to come back to that in a second. There's a piece of you that wants to surrender and give something up that is coming from the undeveloped or the stagnant or the stuck or the lower energy in yourself, to pop forward and launch into our newer energy, maybe launch into something new that represents our higher selves. And so the world, the whole entire world, I like to talk about it collectively, and then I like to talk about it personally. Like, how is this going to affect you? And I'm going to get to that. And you're going to see specifically how this is going to affect you in your chart in a really accurate way. But out there in the world, you can see that the world is accelerating right now. The news today is nothing like the news was yesterday, right? It's just all new topics. It's just moving so fast. And there are huge, huge shifts in movement and in knowledge and in passion right now. And so I want to help you launch your very best self. And I want to help you create those positive changes in your life for your soul and for your happiness and for your joy and for your family. And so we're going to take a look at what the universe is asking you to let go of. Now, here's where it's funny. And again, when I was on YouTube, I found that a lot of readers are like, if you're in Aries, this is what the eclipse is going to do for you. If you're a Taurus, this is what the eclipse is going to do for you. And it doesn't work that way. That's one teeny weeny little tiny piece. That would be like saying, if you're blonde, then you're going to experience life like this. It's maybe a little bigger than that, but not a lot. What matters is where it's happening in your chart. It matters the degree and the house in order to get accuracy. Now, I will tell you, if you are listening to somebody else on YouTube and they're talking about your rising sign, like if you have Virgo rising, then this is what's going to happen. That's accurate. That is absolutely accurate if they're talking about their rising sign, because they know where your 5 degrees Sagittarius is. If you know your rising sign, you can know where 5 degrees Sagittarius is in your chart. If you don't know your rising sign, if you don't know your birth time, you can't know what house this is happening in. So then you do have to go with, well, I'm an Aries. So Aries with Sagittarius gets along, and it's not going to be that awful. Are you guys with me? I got to read some of these comments. Okay, good. Yeah, Connie Joe's kind of giving you guys some ideas. I love it. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Pisces rising. Okay. So Virgo black, Pisces rising, you got to go find where's 5 degrees Sagittarius in your chart. So I want you guys to find your 5 degrees Sagittarius in your chart, and you're going to see wherever 5 degrees Sagittarius is in your chart, that right across it is going to be your 5 degrees Gemini, because it's on an axis. And so you really have to think about, what does Sagittarius energy and what does Gemini energy mean? What are the subjects? And then, is Sagittarius and Gemini compatible in your chart with your sign? Are you a Pisces and a Virgo? Because Gemini and Sagittarius are not very compatible with Pisces and Virgo. So this is going to be a little tougher. Are you a Sagittarius or a Gemini? This is going to be a little stronger, right? And so there's a struggle also with water signs. If you are a Cancer or like I said, Pisces or Scorpio, fire and water aren't really compatible. So it's a little bit tougher. And if you're Earth, it's also a little bit tougher to manage this eclipse, because you don't like all that massive change that this is bringing in. Earth signs just really don't love a lot of change. So that's Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. So really, this boils down to Aquarius's and Libras are going to have a nicer time with this. Yay. So we boiled it down to those two. Yay. We got to celebrate our Libras and Aquariuses. Oh, good. I love this. I love this. God, Connie is just, you guys are just awesome. Susie and Connie and Stacy, you guys are just rocking my chat. I love it. That's awesome. So like I said, eclipses are a much bigger, they represent your destiny. They are destined days, they are karmic days, and they represent a bigger part of your story than just a day. They span your whole lifetime. So we have to go back into time, and I want you to time travel with me right now, okay? We have to go back into time to try to understand how this is going to affect us. So on May 13th, in May, in the year 2013, we had an eclipse very near to this point. And whenever we're talking about the month of May, we know that the sun is in Gemini. So we had that full moon in Sagittarius in May 2013. And if you can go back into time, and if you can look at what happened to you in the month of May in 2013, this is kind of like an echo of that time. And so that was, I think, 8 years ago. And so really try to think about, where were you 8 years ago? But what I want to say is 19 years ago, almost 20 years ago, but it was 19 years ago, in May again, in 2002, what happened to you? Now, this one is super important. 2002, May, and that's because it was such similar energy, because we had the South Node there too. So we had a total lunar eclipse like this one. So the 2013 might give you a hint, but the 2002, this is an echo chamber of that era, of that time. And so, yeah, and you might not remember it, and it might be inconsequential, but just write that down, okay? Because you can go ask your parents, you can go ask your family. So the South Node was in conjunction of the moon. So let me give you an example, okay? I'm going to give you a personal example. So in May of 2002, let me see this. Um, my dad was really, really ill. It was the start of the death of him. And this eclipse took place on my sun. And the sun is oftentimes your father. And so here we are standing again in this same exact energy for me, with it on the sun in the fifth house, right? And now, my stepfather's very fragile. So I'm in my mind, right? I go to this place of, okay, 2002, I was here before. It was the start of my father's death. And now I look at my stepdad and he has severe fragility. And what can I do? How can I help that? I can't stop time. I can't stop aging, right? But what can I do? I can make sure my family's more involved. I can plan a Christmas trip to Mexico with him, which I did, and get the whole family to wrap their arms around him. I can call him every day. I can write him little love texts. I can be a better person in his story and in his life, right? So I can counterbalance it. I don't know if anything bad's gonna happen, but I just know what did happen. And so now I prepare myself to sort of swim into the tide and try to bring a lot of love into this situation. That's an example. Um, okay, good. Then we also had one for the people that are older, like me, in 1994. And that is really interesting because I got married in 1994. So everything has to do with a man. And it's funny because it's in my fifth house of love. Isn't that interesting? And the fifth house is the house of a lot of people think the 10th house is the house of the father, and a lot of people think the fifth house is the house of the father. So I just find that interesting. I'm just giving you a personal example of how you can tie the bigger story together. So for these eclipses, they've always centered around the important men in my life that I love dearly. So right now, what is shifting? What is the focus? So let's go big and then we'll go small to your charts. Um, okay, I'm trusting that you guys are handling all of that conversation going on, and I love it. Thank God I have these brainiac, brilliant, brilliant readers. Go to Soul Navigation and click on the Book Now tab, and you can get your own private reading with Stacy, Connie Joe, and Susie. They're phenomenal. So right now, a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is the full moon. A solar eclipse is the new moon. The new moons are fun, and the full moons are harder and more challenging. They usually bring in a loss of something, a goodbye. They usually bring in like the finishing of something. But right now in the world, you're going to see the travel industry and the educational industry. So education is going to have a major shift in it. Travel is going to have another shift in it. International relationships, visas are going to have a shift in it. Religion, religious groups, immigration is going to have a focus right now. Intercultural affairs, and television, radio, media, sports. We might experience extreme heat because this is fire, 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 and air signs. Gemini makes the heat bigger. So air makes fire bigger, right? Air makes heat hotter, if you will. We might have power outages at this time that are pretty severe. Also, Sagittarius and Gemini, the networker, and then the massive sign of Sagittarius creates large crowds and large gatherings that meet for like concerts, enthusiasm. So concerts might be coming back only maybe to cause another problem. I don't know. But there's also under this eclipse, there is a potential for rioting. There is a potential for like street gathering. That's very Sagittarius. Religious leaders could topple right now. And at the very worst, we could even see mass hysteria. We'll see firearms, literally, firearms and, well, what's happening in Gaza right now in Israel is very eclipse energy. It's a religious war, right? It's like rocket launches and rocket propelled grenade launchers, and it's very Gemini Sagittarius. But you also might see that this eclipse brings in like foreign travel to faraway places like space. And with the Gemini aspect, it's going to affect the way that we communicate, the way that we write, our telephones, our computers, social media, city travel. And this, for us personally, I believe that this eclipse is asking us to change our belief systems in some area in our life. And we're being asked to expand our minds, expand our belief system, and expand our mental process. We're being asked to find the truth, see the truth, and work with the truth, the hardcore truth, the real truth, not the fake truth, not the pretend truth, not the lying truth, but the truth, the truth, the truth. And it's uncomfortable, right? Because, well, at least here in the United States, half of the people believe one truth and the other half believe another truth. And so we're being asked to expand and to grow and to learn more and to explore, to step outside of our own dogma and look at the other side, and with discernment and to remove judgment. I also want to talk about Jupiter and Pisces for a minute, but if we don't do this eclipse from our highest self, if we don't embody the energy that wants to transform, we get rigid and we get judgmental and we get cocky and we get arrogant like a bad Sagittarius, and we get intolerant like another bad Sagittarius, and we walk around with our prejudice inside of us like a bad Sagittarius. We get closed-minded and we even become full-blown narcissists if we can only do it our way or the highway, right? And if we don't take your perspective, which is different than mine, into consideration. So you are going to see all of that arrogance, that cockiness, and that rigidity, and that dogma, and that intolerance, and that racism, and that kind of my way or the highway. You're going to see that out there in the world. But I know that that's nobody on my channel, right? Because you guys are better than that. You guys are just so much better than that. And you guys are the ones that want to evolve. So I know that it's not, I know that this community that we have built, and by the way, I love you. Thank you for being one of the 31,000 people that have subscribed to my channel. I'm so grateful. And I just love the love that is on this channel. So, you know, I want to help you help yourself embrace that higher energy that comes with this eclipse. And I believe that you can't really understand this eclipse unless you will go look at Sagittarius's ruler, Jupiter, which has just moved into Pisces. And Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, so you have the Gemini and then you have the Sagittarius. Well, the ruler is in Pisces, and it is in negative or square or challenging aspect to the Gemini and the Sagittarius, the Gemini sun and the Sagittarius moon. But I do feel that the key to unlock the higher octave of the goodness that could come from the losses and the goodbyes is found in that Jupiter. And it's uncomfortable. That's why it's a square. But good stuff happens with squares too. This lunar eclipse wants to launch you into a higher mind. If you think about Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the higher mind. Sagittarius is the visionary. Sagittarius is the high mind when it's working really well. And Gemini is the detailed mind, the daily, it's on the daily, where Sagittarius doesn't want to be bothered with all those details. It just wants that mind expanding vision. It's the visionary. It's the forest and the trees and the blades of grass. So like, the little blades of grass, seeing each one is like Gemini, Virgo, but just looking at the whole landscape is Sagittarius. So, do you look at the house Jupiter is in? You can, but basically, where do you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 degrees of Pisces? That's where Jupiter is at. Um, so right now, this eclipse, if I had to boil it down to one potato, wants to blow your mind wide open. Like blow your mind so wide open and show you things you never even thought of. Has anybody ever blown your mind before with a thought and it reshaped everything around you? When I was 23 years old, I lived in Bangkok, Thailand with my dad. And I was sitting in the back seat, and my dad said to me, Meredith, do you think prostitution should be legal? And I said, no, Dad, that's crazy. Why would I think prostitution should be legal? And that man blew my mind. He took me down to Pat Pong, where, you know, all these prostitutes were lined up. And he said, and this was a long time ago, I was 23 years old, and he showed me the world of prostitution. He blew my mind open. And I won't go into all of it. I could tell you the whole story, but my father was just a wonderful man. He worked for the United Nations as a diplomat. And he talked to me about the benefits if prostitution was legalized. And to this day, I believe prostitution should be legalized. And it's like it was this radical view that I held as a 23-year-old woman, right? Westernized woman. I also did an about face at one time in my life around the death penalty. It's something I don't believe in anymore. Now, I'm not telling you guys to believe in the things I believe in. I'm just saying I was really staunch something. And then I had a person have a conversation with me, and it blew my mind so open that I forever changed my life around it. And with the death penalty, my dear, lovely, beautiful, gorgeous girlfriend, Carrie, introduced me to somebody who was wrongly sentenced to life for prison, and they got out. And when I listened to their story, and they were on death row, when I listened to their story, I thought, how could I ever believe in that? So that changed me forever. That's what this eclipse wants to do for you on a certain subject. So, has that ever happened to you before? Have you ever had your mind blown where you did an about face and you never went back to that old belief system? So Sagittarius and Gemini here are asking you to develop a new belief system, and we're going to look at in what arena in your life, right? But tell me if you've had that experience yet. I know I got a lot of young people here. Okay. So basically what I'm saying is universe is going to bring you a new truth about something. Are you ready for it? Right? And I want to tell you, I just read in the newspaper yesterday, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in 2011, Casey Anthony, who murdered her kid with chloroform and then buried her body and then lied about it and then got off, wanted to be opened up, put in for a license to become a private detective in Florida. And one of the jurors came out for the very first time since 2011 and said that he really dramatically regretted his decision to let her go, to acquit her. And he lives with the regret every single day of his life. He never stops thinking about it. He thinks about her acquittal and how he acquitted her every single day of his life, and how he researched the case more after he was a juror, and he knows flat out that she was just guilty, and he can't go undo what he did, and he has new truths. And so now he's living a life with these new truths, right? And this is an example of how your mind can be blown wide open with new truths. So I want you to be open to getting a new truth, a new perspective, new knowledge, a new vision, a new religion, a new belief system. You're going to see that the world wants to reform our outdated, old, barbaric belief systems because we're stepping into the fifth dimension now. We haven't talked about that. I'm not going to go into that too much in this video, But that's the whole point and purpose. And that's why we're moving through lessons really fast. And we cannot understand this eclipse without understanding Jupiter's role in it. Jupiter just moved into Pisces. And guess what? Jupiter's favorite place, if not in Sagittarius's bedroom, then Pisces' bedroom. So I just have to tell you that Jupiter is the old ruler of Pisces, and it just loves being there. Oh, it's at 2 degrees. So Jupiter is at 2 degrees Pisces. And I think that this Jupiter in Pisces at the highest octave is asking us to heal these old barbaric belief systems, or these old outdated belief systems inside of us on a personal level and out there in society, that just are cruel or inhumane, like shadow side of Sagittarius, right? Like dogmatic, and it's my way and I'm right and I'm superior to you. And the shadow side of Sagittarius, to cure it, coming from a Jupiter in Pisces movement, which is unconditional, divine, angelic, pure love. Love, at the end of the day, heals all things. You know that, right? Love, at the end of the day, heals all things. Yeah, I know you need money to go down to buy the doctor office to get the medicine, but without love, the medicine isn't worth anything. It's worth nothing. Why am I going to take this medicine if I have no love in my life? If I don't love myself, if I don't have anybody loving me, and if I don't love anybody. So at the end of the day, love is the great motivator. Karen Sitta, you should book a reading. I mean, when we can look at your chart and how all your different planets interface with the eclipse, we get a way bigger story than what we're going to be able to do today. And it's deeply personal. And it might even bring tears to your eyes. This is one of the most profound days and times of the year. And it's going to take till December 3rd to see it completely unravel. So let's talk about it on the axis. So I have to tell it to you this way. If you have 5 degrees Sagittarius in your first house, well, then you have the sun in your 7th house. So I'm going to talk about it and both affect you. And if you have the 5 degrees Sagittarius in your 2nd house, well, then you have the Gemini sun in your 8th house, and both affect you. If you have it in the 3rd, okay, it goes around. So then you have it in the 9th. And so I'm going to talk to you about it 1 through 6. And so if you're late to the game here, you're going to get to watch this on repeat. But you need to see the story from both angles to get it. Oh, Susie is on those links. Click that link right there and book a reading. And when you book the reading, you can put in the notes section, I want to look at the eclipse. So then they know what to look at. All the readings are such different prices. They go from very inexpensive and up. So you can find the kind of reading that you want. Some are virtual, some are on the phone, some are 15 minutes, some are 30, some are 2 hours, some are 1 hour. You have to go shop over there. You'll love reading their bios and picking your person. Let's talk about if you've got this specifically in the 1st house, if you have 5 degrees Sagittarius in your 1st house. This takes on a real Aries flavor to it, okay? Now, it does not matter what your sun is. It does not matter. Now, you can think in the back of your head, is my sun sign compatible with Sagittarius? That's your soul and your identity. So if you're an Aquarius or a Libra, and you've got this in the 1st house, it's probably going to be a little bit easier for you. But if you're any other sign, it's probably going to be a hiccup, a speed bump, a mind expansion, a loss, a surrender. It's probably going to feel like when you rip the Band-Aid off, ow, it hurts. When you get poked a little bit, ow, it's uncomfortable. So this is about yourself and this is about other people. This is no small placement. If you have this, tell me if you guys have this. If you have this if you have your if you have 5 degrees Sagittarius in the 1st house, raise your hand. Tell me, just say me, me. And you can say what your sun sign is too. So this probably means you are Sagittarius rising. It's not necessarily true. You could be Capricorn rising. Does anybody have this? Okay, Libra Ladybird. Hi, Libra Ladybird. Yes, first house Sag. Okay, and you are a Libra. So we know that you, Ladybird, are probably going to be able to swallow this eclipse a little bit more easily than others. Um, and Connie Joe has this right on her ascendant. God bless you, Connie. So this is about self. So this is what I would like to say. There's probably going to be something in your life that is trying to take yourself away from you. There is probably going to be something in your life that is not allowing you to get to yourself. And you are probably putting so much massive energy right now into life and other people and other people's agendas and doing, going for others, that you probably have severely and massively neglected yourself. If you have this 5 degrees Sagittarius total lunar eclipse in your first house, there could even be a physical breakdown where your physicality is just wary and there's massive physical burnout possibility. It's no small thing. This is where you have all of that desire to be powerful and great, and it could be overkill. You could be overdoing it, giving so much to self and others that you've lost yourself. You've lost your own agenda. You may even lost your own power a little bit, physical strength. And the world is asking you right now to let go of some of these other people's agendas, step away from them. It can be business partners too. It could be friendships. It could be partner. It's literally just other people. What other people expect of you and performing for other people, and really stepping into the courage to be you, stepping into the courage to be your own leader, stepping into the courage to do your program, your plan. And in order to do that, you have to get really honest with yourself. You have to get honest with who you want to be in this world. Time is precious. We don't have a lot of time. So you have the next 6 months to figure out, who am I? Who do I want to be? And how do I want to use all this massive, you have gargantuan, giant energy to put into the world. If you have this 5 degrees in your first house of Sagittarius, that means your first house is 13,300 times the size of planet Earth for your physicality, for your leadership energy. That's how massive this is. Do you know what it takes to burn out something that big? A lot. So before you stroke out on me, that's joking, that's just funny. But before you really, completely collapse under all of this massive energy that you're pouring out into the world for other people. How do I know it's other people? Because it's connected to the 7th house, which is other people. Giving. Take some for you. Take some for you. Can you guys relate to this? Can you guys relate to Sag rising? Yeah, I'm talking about Sag rising. In order to be able to surrender the things that you don't want to spend your time on accommodating other people's ideas and image of you, you have to be really honest with yourself and get in touch with, who am I and who do I want to be? What do I love doing? What do I want to take on? And I am really gonna be okay not doing your agenda for me, right? I need to have the courage to do my agenda for me. This is the me, and me house. So get in touch with how you can create harmony within your own self without losing yourself in spinning on somebody else's gerbil wheel, trying to accommodate their idea of you being the perfect child, being the perfect mate, being the perfect mom. I mean, I know I'm over here trying to win the gold medal for being the perfect wife, the perfect person, the perfect mom. It's exhausting. I can't even do it. I would just rather fail at this point. But creating harmony without losing yourself. And right now, I think you're going to see that your partnerships, and that can be work, that can be friendship, that can be your partner, they need more of you, or they take more of you than you even have of you. So don't lose all of yourself to them. You have to, and here's the deal. If you kind of don't alter this, universe is going to alter it for you. So universe will offload some of this stuff for you. So I would rather you be out in front and you pick and choose, what you want to spend your time on. Okay, let's talk about if you have Sagittarius at 5 degrees in the second house. Now, we can't do the second house without also doing the 8th house, because that means the Gemini sun and the North Node is in the 8th house. So let's look at this. This is about your resources, your concrete resources, your self-esteem, your self-worth, your money, cold hard cash, and how you make your money. And this is about deep, deep soul transformation. And how does the soul transform? Well, it has to be willing to do 2 things. Are you ready for this? This is how you transform the soul. It's only 2 ways. Well, really, there's 3. You have to be truthful to start with. That wasn't one of my 2 things. But you have to be authentically truthful with yourself. Then you have to be willing to be intimate and vulnerable. And that's the 8th house. Intimate and vulnerable. And to the degree that you are willing to be vulnerable is to the degree that you can create intimacy. And if you're not willing to be vulnerable, this is going to be a really painful thing for you, because universe will just come right out and create vulnerability in you. I would rather you just be willing to be vulnerable. Vulnerable is to expose myself to you. Vulnerable is and intimacy is to share me with you authentically, to show you the things I'm proud of. Sometimes intimacy is not just for me to show you my wounds, it's to also show you what I'm really proud of. And a lot of people have a harder time showing you the things about me that I'm proud of, that I love about myself, than my wounds. A lot of people can show their wounds more easily than their pride. So being willing to show the good stuff about you too is really intimate work. So intimacy and vulnerability is really important to take a look at if you've got this happening in your second house, because that's the 8th house. So the second house is your resources want to transform. How you make your money is probably going to shapeshift over the next 6 months, starting tomorrow. Your investments. How have you invested your money? Does anybody here raise your hand if you've got, leave me a little emoji or raise your hand like a thumbs up emoji if you've got this 5 degrees Sagittarius in the second house. I want to know if there's anybody here. Anybody? Anybody? Tell me if you've got Sagittarius at 5 degrees in the second house. Okay, hopefully there's somebody. But, and this is like no small placement either. And this is where the universe is asking you to transform your belief system, transform your outdated thoughts, if you will, around your sexuality, around your finances, around the way you do or don't do intimacy. Oh, Warren, I love you. Thank you for being proud of me. I love you. You live in my heart. And also death. So there could be huge goodbyes, losses, or changes around your money, around your sexual relationship, around somebody who you are deeply intimate with, or on the subject of death. Now, I don't really believe in death. I believe that the soul lives for eternity, and we but I'm just using the word death here. Um, and so you might also get a whole new belief system around death. You might get a whole new belief system around money. You might get, okay, here's Kristen. Woo, we've got someone, Kristen. And she's a second house Sagittarius. Okay, awesome. And so Kristen, this is specifically for you. And so this is going to bring probably some old wounds up for you. The eighth house loves working on your wounds and transforming those old wounds with a new perspective. You know, remember the very first day that you saw your parents as just like average human beings? Like, wow, they really aren't deities. Wow, they're like the very first day. You might have been 2 years old, you might have been 4 years old, you might have been 15, you might have been 20. It might not have ever happened. But that day where you woke up and you went, wow, God, my parents are just like regular humans, like they're flawed. They have flaws, right? Mm-hmm. It's sort of like you might go back into time where you get to heal some of those childhood wounds, which leads to more intimacy and vulnerability when you really do that work. And that's very authentic work. Like when you can get really truthful about, wow, you know, my mother didn't mean to hurt me that way. It's just that she came from a deeply flawed family, and forgiveness bubbles out of intimacy. When you have a truly intimate relationship with somebody, do you know what you're really doing? Do you know what you're really doing? You're not really having sex. You're actually really standing in the forgiveness of their flaws. That's what you're doing. That's what intimacy is. Intimacy, true intimacy, is I love you anyway. And when you can do that, when you can do that, you heal yourself. So this is deep. If you've got this on the second house, if you have this in the second house or the eighth house, this is deep, deep, deep work. Because you probably are going to have one of these original wounds pop up and resurface, and you're going to get to do forgiveness through intimacy and vulnerability. And this deep wound could be around money, not having enough. It could be around your own sexuality. It could be around forgiveness. It could be around the subject of death. But this placement is asking you to face your deep psychological fears that live way down here. The psychological fears. They're not even probably real, but they're in your mind. This is also going to maybe, you could also go into healing, doing some transformation work by embracing the occult, astrology, tarot, Reiki, crystal healing, sound baths, facing your fears. Now, this eclipse might have you cut off from being able to be intimate with family or friends or your loved one or those who you really want to have a close connection with. And so you might feel very alone in this. And it also could shake up your money and how you make money. You know, you might lose a job and you might feel like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do the things I want? Only to realize that when you get more in touch with your authentic, truthful self, you might see that there truly is a more rewarding way to earn your money. Now, you might not get that whole story complete in a week. That might take months. But this could mess with your finances. This could mess with your self-esteem. You could have somebody who makes you feel like you're not good enough. And that is probably a childhood wound that you need to get really real about. Put it on the table and start working on your self-worth. So this is going to rattle your intimacy, your authenticity, your vulnerabilities, because it wants to make you transform transform your belief system around the way you make your money, around your finances, around your investments, and around your self-worth, your self-image, and knowing that you're worth it. So you really have to go on a quest or a crusade right now, to counterbalance this, saying and learn and see and discover in deep truth, intimacy with self, that you are worth it. You are good enough. If you lose your job, sorry for them. Sorry for them. You're worth it. You'll find something better. So counterbalance by really keeping your self-esteem intact right now, and develop intimacy with yourself, loving you. Find the things about you that you adore. Does this make sense? Are you guys good? I hope so. Okay, the third and the ninth. So also I want to tell you that if you've got, so I just did the second and the eighth. So if you've got the moon in the eighth, it's the same story. Okay, it's the access that matters. So if you have it in the first and or the seventh, that's the same story. The third and the ninth. So this is the teaching and learning access. And this is the belief. This is the mind access. This is the detailed mind. And then this is the visionary mind. So Syria, oh my gosh. Oh, Mimo Dido, love you from Syria. Like the country? Or is that your name? You're watching me from Syria? I'm so flattered. Wow, I wish I could transport you right here to Seattle and have a cup of tea with me, and I would love to share life stories with you. Mimo Dido from Syria. Wow, that just blows my mind where this little YouTube channel can go. The third and the ninth, let's go back that. If you've got your Sagittarius 5 degrees in the third house, we have to look at the ninth house too, right? And in reverse. So, you know, this is, I think, universe asking you to really calm down. This is the axis of hyperactivity. I'm just telling you. And believe me, I know this axis really well. I have a lot of plants in the third house, and I just don't sit down. The only time I sit down is like when I'm doing one of these. So this is the house of learning. And you might see that somebody might try to, something or somebody might try to alter your course around learning. You might not get into the college that you want. You might not get into the school that you want. The school might be too expensive. It might be too far away. You might have to sort of surrender into a new belief system, a new pattern, a new learning process. And I do think that if you've got this placement, I need you to go really, 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 really slow, because accidents can happen, especially car accidents can happen with this placement on eclipses. No texting and driving. No, no, no. If you have this placement, you need to put the phone in the back seat. I'm not joking. Because this is the house of like the scatterbrain. You can be really, really scattered and the multitasker, and then you take it for granted and you do it under a lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse, and boom, your life's over. So please don't do that. This is like, your car can break down easily. You can have, absent-minded car crash, wear your seatbelt for God's sake, but slow it down so you can counterbalance this position. But this position is asking you to create bigger experiences. Oh, thank you for the super chats. My God, I really appreciate you, Kristen. That's very sweet. And thank you for the person above. That was so sweet. Texas something. Texan Rain. Texan Rain. I love you. So creating bigger experiences, finding your voice, write your gosh darn book. So right now you might be saying, oh, I want to sing that song. I want to write that music. I want to send a letter to my boss. I want to write a letter to the editor. I want to use my voice, but I'm not. This is the time right now that I want you to counterbalance and find the courage to speak up for yourself and to speak from your higher mind. This is a time to really create bigger experiences for yourself. This is a massive axis. Massive. This is so huge. The ninth house is the Sagittarius house. It is 13,300 times the size of all the other houses. Well, the 12th house is actually infinity. It's the only one that's bigger, but this is a massive amount of space. And so I want you to think about traveling both to little cities and faraway places and create more meaning in your life. Don't just waste your life on the nonsensical data and details of organizing your sock drawer. This is like you've got massive visionary powers, and your soul wants you to build new truths. So what's going to happen? You're going to see a bunch of liars and cheats out there in the world, and you're probably going to get lied to and fibbed and fudged around, because this is also a truth access, digging for the truth, going on the truth crusade. And the only way that you can know the truth is to understand what the lie is. So this is also like the great fibbers. And I want to tell you that one of the counterbalances for this is put your dream into action. So if you want to write your book, pick up your pen. This is a Sharpie. You're not going to write your book with this, but pick up your pen and start. If you want to do your YouTube channel or build your new website, start the process. And I know that this is a goodbye. I would wait until the solar eclipse on June. What did I say it was? Hold on. June 10. Yeah, June 10. I have so many dates in my head. I'd wait until June 10th to really start it. But you're going to see right now that there might be a setback around you can't get your voice heard. You can't get your album cut. You can't get your book written. Somebody's going to tell you your idea is stupid. Or someone's going to try to tell you that you can't be a singer. You can't be this. You can't do that. No, no, no. And or the world is just going to keep you so manically crazy busy on all these other mundane subjects that you can't get to the meaningful part. So don't let that happen. Don't let all the chaos and all the drama, and there will be chaos and drama with this access, don't let all of that happen so you can't get to the meaningful parts of your life. Okay, I love it. Susie's keeping track of my super chats. If you guys want to send a super chat question, that's great. I'll get to it. I've got 2 already that I need to do. And if you want to send a question about your personal chart and a super chat, I will answer it for you. What I want you to know is that, like, here's an example. So my little daughter has, she's 14. She has this placement in her chart. And so she's having the moon in her 3rd house, and that Gemini sun is in the 9th. Well, one of the things we're doing for her is I really encouraged her. I wanted, she's smart enough for it. I want her to expand her game, expand her mental game, and sign up. You have to sign up for classes next year right now. I want her to go into advanced placement history. She's fantastic at it. Why wouldn't she? It's a waste of life if she doesn't. It's a waste of her brain cells if she doesn't, because she can handle it. And I know that she would find it interesting. And so because of that, I gave her a reward that if she does that, I will let her go on the school trip to Italy. And I'm paying $280 a month for this school trip in Italy next year. That is a prime example of the 3rd and the 9th house. It's a perfect example for you. She didn't want to do that. She didn't want to take that AP world history. Who wants to work that hard when you can just get an A+ in regular history, right? And get a great GPA, mom, and then I'll get a scholarship. No, I want you to use the brain cells that actually can like fire in your brain. If you can do it, let's do it. And so I created that incentive and that reward. I had to fight her a little bit, but she's good. She's going to do it. But that's an example of how she can harness this eclipse energy, learning about foreign lands and foreign people and foreign cultures and a foreign trip. Hopefully it'll be COVID great by then over there in Italy. I don't know how it is right now, but let's just see. Um, Sending my love from Guyana. Am I saying it right? Wow. Nicholas, oh my gosh, I'm just so flattered with all of these faraway people. It's just so fun. It just makes my Sagittarius soul sing a song. I absolutely love it. I love diversity. I love different cultures. I love different food and music and all of that. It's just so wonderful. It just makes my heart sing. So, this is what I want you to do. I want you to know that somehow the world is going to make you lose your voice right now. Somehow the world is going to challenge you to not speak up. Somehow you're going to want to stay in your safe space if you've got this in the third house or the ninth house. Somehow you're going to bottle up and you're going to have writer's block or vocal block or mental block, or you're going to have so much chaos that you can't get to the meaningful things in your life. And you're being asked to create a new belief system that your voice is important, that your mind is brilliant, that not only can you learn, eventually you can even teach, that you are wise enough, smart enough, and you're supposed to create a new belief system, a new truth around just how smart you are, just how brilliant and beautiful and gorgeous your voice is. And so somebody, somehow, somewhere is going to rattle that. They're going to try to snuff that out and take that away over the course of the next few weeks. Don't let them. So I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm giving you the counterbalance remedy. Oh my gosh, I have Romania here. I would love it. Wouldn't it be fun if we could just all sit down at the table? We all brought our favorite dish and our favorite drink, and we had all this great food and music and dance, and let's do a retreat. Do you guys want to? And come and we'll meet, I don't know, we'll meet in Costa Rica or something. Probably have to be somewhere a little bit closer. Maybe Ibiza. I've never been there. I love you guys. Also, you should know your lover's chart, where's their eclipse happening, your children's chart, your parents' chart. If you don't have charts for the primary loves in your life, you need to go get one because your life will be affected by theirs. So I go and look at my husband's eclipse and I'm like, oh God, where's he having that? Because that is going to show up in my house, right? So I want to know. Um, let's meet in Guatemala, everybody. I will bring curry. Okay. Are we putting the curry on chicken or anything? Are we dipping bread in it? What are we going to do? Move, sing, and heal. Jennifer Loftus. Yes, we could go to Hawaii. Okay, so you guys are so stinking cute. Let's keep going. The 4th and the 10th. So the 4th and the 10th, you know, no place is a small place. This is really big. This is your home, but this is really your heart. And so there could be a deep feeling of loss or heartbreak or even a sadness here. This could be a change, a massive change in your home, in your family, with your mama, with those that you love, with your or with your emotional self. You could even feel emotionally sad for reasons that you might not even know. Just honor it. But it also represents your place in society and the limelight, your great works in life. And it could also be like work at home. That could be this placement too, where you might feel that something's being taken away, but it's in order to level it up. So your home life might change, your heart life might change, your family, there might be a pretty big change inside your family or your mom. If you're having this eclipse in the 4th house, I would highly recommend counterbalance again. I would highly recommend that you stay close in touch with your mama and your family right now. Just check on them. Just, you know, send them a little love text like I mentioned. And really make sure that your home is the way you want it. Remodel it, redecorate it. There's going to be something. You could have a breakdown. You might need a new roof. You might have flooding. You might have, I don't know, an oven that doesn't work. You might need to do some repairs. You might need to relocate. Again, I don't recommend you doing that until that June 10th, when we have the solar eclipse with the new moon in Gemini. That's a great time to move. But you might learn about it now, and you might realize, ooh, I have to do repairs on my broken heart. Ooh, I have to do repairs on my broken home. Ooh, I have to do repairs with my mama. Ooh, I have to do repair work with my family. I have to do repairs with, right, somebody that I'm close to. And you also might see that this affects your career or your place in society, where somebody might be taking away a job, duties, responsibilities. Maybe you didn't get the promotion. Maybe you didn't get the job that you wanted. Maybe your web designer didn't launch it in time and it didn't happen. But all this means is level up, become your own authority, become less dependent on finding self-worth through your great works or your family. Know that you are an individuated person and that this is not going to destroy you. A broken heart will make you tougher and stronger. And if you can stay vulnerable and truthful and authentic with yourself, there's so many lessons probably inside that heartbreak that you will grow and learn from. Um, Hardships oftentimes are our biggest blessings. Maybe you dodged a bullet, right? Um, let's see. Okay, so what I want to say also is that you could feel a little bit of emotional depression. So this is the house that is telling you also in a way to slow down, but to nurture yourself so deeply. This is also the house of deep self-love. Now, if you have the moon here, if you have the Sagittarius moon here, the moon likes being here. It does. It just doesn't really like being here in a total lunar eclipse, but it does like being here. You're probably going to feel massively emotional. You are probably going to feel a flood of emotions. And I have to say, write them out. Do sound bath healing. Do healing with music and meditation. Go into your cocoon so you can recharge your batteries, so you can come and stand as your own authority figure in your limelight. And if there is some sort of takeaway or shutdown with your job, be so grounded and so centered in your emotional self-worth, in your emotional body. Nurture yourself so deeply that that does not rock your world, and you take it as an opportunity to level up and get something better. This is a really important placement if you have an eclipse here, because the universe is saying you can do more for self and for the world, for your community, in your career. You probably are playing small. I'm just being honest with you. And if I also encourage you on the new moon to maybe look for another job. Look for something that's more rewarding. If you're not standing in the spotlight, you should be. Don't be hidden. Don't hide yourself here. Um, and let's talk about the 5th and the 11th. If you've got this happening in your 5th house and the 11th house, the moon in your 5th house at 5 degrees Sagittarius, or if it's in the 11th house, this is about your colleagues. This is about groups and organizations and your friends. And this is also about social media. You might struggle with, there might be a struggle or a collapse inside of social media. You could get bullied, you could get harassed, you could feel like, what, I am not doing this Facebook anymore. I want to eliminate it from my life, or it brings toxic energy to me, or it's not healing me or helping me. And this is, yeah, Melina, I mean, play big, play really big if this is on your 4th and 10th house axis. But something that nurtures you too. Don't play big in a dead end job, right? Play big in a job that creates fulfillment. But back to the 5th, I just read her comment. This is about having creative courage. So somehow, somewhere, the world is going to feel, if you've got this 5 degrees Sagittarius moon in your 5th house or in the 11th, the world feels kind of depressing to you, like the joy has been sucked out, and you might even feel like nobody's paying attention to you, or there's no love in your life, or your life is just so boring, and you might feel like, I don't know, all the joy was taken away. You might feel like you are playing with friends that don't serve you, that aren't in alignment with you, that don't bring you happiness. You might feel like your friends are boring, toxic, uninteresting, not fun, mean to you even. So the counterbalance to this is find like-minded souls, find joy, gamble with your heart, gamble with love, and know that there is true love out there for you and that you're worth it. You just have to take creative risks. You have to have creative courage. Creative means you create it, and it means it doesn't mean you're a painter necessarily. It means you create the remedy. You create the formula. You're not just doing a cookie cutter life. This is a placement that's saying you're unique. But what you're going to see inside this eclipse is the world is treating you as if you're just an average mundane soul, right? And that's not true. You have to step into your uniqueness. You have to step into your creative courage, your creative power. You've got to find your Broadway stage and then connect into people, groups, and organizations and colleagues that support that uniqueness in you, support your creative process, not people who, put you down for it. My handle on Instagram is soul_navigation. I hope you guys are all following me. Follow me on Instagram. I do dailies over there. And you can watch the rewind, but you'll get more. You'll get more out of this as we do the 6th and the 12th house. So this one's very interesting. I feel like with the 6th house, this could be a health issue. This is also a mental, this also has a mental game to it. And if you've got this eclipse happening in your 6th and 12th house, I really want you to do deep self-care right now. This is no small thing. None of them are. They're all huge. They're all enormous. But this can be about your health. This can be about your small animals and your pets. So really take care of your little pets. And there's also like a discontentment with the daily routine. Somehow your daily routine got mundane, it got too in the weeds, it got uninspiring, and it may even be creating depression or a mental breakdown or too much anxiety or discontentment, or even depression. If you have this happening in your 12th house and your 6th house, you could be manic and you could feel depressed. And that might not be clinically so, but you could just feel that way. You probably have to reorganize, revamp, recreate what your daily routine looks like and make it sweeter, make it more rewarding, and make it nicer and kinder to your physical and mental well-being. Now, when you go to sleep, I really want you to open up because you could have an angelic breakthrough with this placement, especially if you've got the moon in the 12th house. And if you have the sun there too, either one, they're both really vital and important. But the moon is so intuitive. And so you could really be awakened to divine communication through your spirit guides, your guardian angels, and crossed over loved ones even. This is asking you basically to surrender and develop a new belief system around higher power. So that could be God, that could be a religion, that could be your angels, that could be your guides, that could just be your own soul. But it's asking you to surrender and have faith. Have faith, develop a faith, and be willing to let go of the neurotic control that you're running your life with, quite possibly. Really go into a meditative state with yourself with a bubble bath and see if you can open up your third eye and step into a deeper spiritual awakening, a deeper faith about yourself. Now, what's going to happen under this eclipse is people are going to threaten that faith. And so you're going to probably be in a situation that looks like it's doomsday or impossible to conquer, or there's no way I could have that dream, or believing that you have to do all this hard work running on the gerbil wheel, this really regimented system in order to get your dream to manifest, and it's not true. So if you could surrender and get more peaceful, without losing yourself to drugs or depression or isolation, still work your program, not just surrender in bed and think that the unicorns are going to rain down on you. Still work your program, just not in a maniacal way, not with crazy high anxiety energy, but just do the important things. Create something that's healthier for you. You probably need to look at going on a healthier nutrition program, a healthier workout program, putting health at the forefront, mental and physical health at the forefront of your life, so you can be in a more calm state, so you can attract that, so you can attract your angelic messages. That when an eclipse happens here on this fault line, your faith and fate is usually tested, and your belief in a higher power is usually tested. So if I'm going to test your faith, I'm going to give you an impossible situation, a situation that feels impossible, because faith is not a rational thing. It's not a mathematical equation. It is a belief. So I'm going to test it, right? I'm the universe right now, pretending. And so if I'm going to test it, how do we build it up? How do we build up faith? Well, we're put in precarious situations, and we learn about the power of positivity, the power of optimism, and the power of surrendering our own agenda to maybe a higher power or a higher way. Maybe universe or God knows a better way for us than what our limited beliefs create. Also, take a real look at where are you really critical about yourself, about your life, and try to iron out those wrinkles. Like, try to do a lot of self-care and self-love. Quit being critical to yourself. Surrender your flaws to the universe, right? Just say, okay, I'm deeply flawed there. I give that up. I will come from my best self, but don't dwell. This can create a lot of depression if you've got the moon or the sun here on the eclipse. You can go into deep self-isolation. And so if you feel like, and you might feel like this eclipse has made you lose your laughter, so the counterbalance would be to do things that create your laughter. Now, I just want to tell you one more thing, that we have to be a little tiny bit careful. Hold on. We have got that new moon, and I've talked about, don't buy your new house or do these things maybe until the new moon, but that new moon falls inside of Mercury in retrograde. So Mercury in retrograde starts on the 29th, and it goes till June 22nd. So it's almost all of June. So I really don't truly recommend starting a giant big project, even though we're having a solar eclipse, because it's Mercury in retrograde. But if it's a small adjustment, I do recommend that. But if it's some massive thing, I don't really recommend that. Like, don't get married, in Mercury in retrograde. So that's May 29th through June 22nd. Okay, now Susie, do you want to help me with the, how am I doing this, Susie? Let's see. Okay, I've got some questions. Let's see. What does Susie say to me? She says, okay, so I got to go back. Okay, I'll go up. Should I go up? Okay, here's Texas rain. Sagittarius 9th house. And true node 15 degrees. Love your videos. I'm a new subscriber this last week. I loved your Capricorn rising video. Oh, thank you. Sagittarius, ninth house, 33 minutes, and true node at 15. So Texas Rain, are you saying that you have your North Node in the ninth house? Is that what I'm understanding? So in Sagittarius, so are you in Aries rising? Oh no, you're a Capricorn rising. Okay, I think I'm misunderstanding. What is Texas Rain asking me? I don't know. Maybe Texas Rain can re-ask the question in a way that I could really give a great answer. I would love to give a great answer. Okay, here's another one. Okay, Kristen, thank you, Meredith. You've confirmed. Oh, you're just sending me a thank you, Kristen Atlantic. I love you. Thank you. It's not even a question. That's awesome. I think there's one more question. If you guys have a question, you can just send me a super chat. My sun and moon, this is for Daisy D. My sun, moon, and rising in order. Okay, Aquarius sun, Sagittarius moon, and Aries rising. Will I ever feel at home in my skin? Well, I wonder, Daisy D, how old are you? Yes, you will. And oh my gosh, Aquarius sun and Sagittarius moon and Aries rising. That is such a fun combination. You know, you're built for massively you're built, hold on, Susie's writing to me. You're built for, well, I'm just going to finish up right now with just these couple of questions, and then if you guys have any other questions, I'll answer them for sure. But what I wanted to say to Daisy D is at the age of 36, we really come into a maturation. And if you're not 29 years old yet, yeah, you're probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable because it's like you've got 30 sticks of dynamite inside of you. So you've got a big world, a big universe. And if you're not a super supporter, I really recommend, Daisy, you become one, because I give you your 365-day horoscope, and I give you your natal chart and your deep dive report. And one of the things you'll see is that that's not small energy. That's big energy, bigger energy, and then the biggest energy. I mean, it's actually gargantuan. And so you're here to really pretty much create a revolution. With an Aquarius sun and a Sag moon and Aries rising. You've got the courage and the ability to really change the course of humanity. Okay, so are you ever going to feel really comfortable with that? Maybe not, but should you? Probably not. Right? When your job is so big. I mean, did Martin Luther King ever feel really super comfy? Probably not. Right? Did Nelson Mandela ever feel like super comfy? Probably not. The bigger the mission, right, the more probably uncomfortable we are. So kind of own it and know that that's sort of like a badge of glory, and do something with it. When you're going to feel comfortable with yourself, or I should say the most comfortable with yourself, is when you're doing something with that gargantuan energy, when you're doing something that's creating a revolution, that's standing in the highest truth, and when you're being a freaking maverick. So like bungee jumping, you're probably feeling more comfortable. I hope that helps, Daisy D. Okay, do I have any other questions? Okay, he is a Capricorn rising. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, Susie's over here helping me so much. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Oh, Texas Rain. No, I'm a Cap rising. Hang on. I think Texas Rain is sending me a question. Proper 310. I'm so glad you're here. Are you guys all subscribers and super supporters? And if you don't have your chart, come over there and get it. But if you're a super supporter, you get my secret videos. I need to do more of them, and I owe my super supporters a few more. You get your horoscope for 365 days a year. It's personal for your chart. And you get your deep dive natal report. So you get a whole book about you. It's like 30 pages. and you get your glorious natal chart, you also get your dynamite date, your personal most powerful manifestation day. So you get tons of perks. Come join our community. Okay, let's see this. Texas rain. So Sag is showing in my 9th house. Okay, how can Sag be showing in your 9th house if you are a Capricorn rising? And the true node, and I was curious as how to the eclipse would affect me as a Cap rising Gemini moon. Okay, well, I'm afraid I'm going to give you bad information because if you're a Capricorn rising, you cannot have Sagittarius in the 9th house. You would have to have Sagittarius in the 12th house. So that can't be. So I'm not going to be able to answer that well. Michael, you're so cute. Manuti, how are you doing? I hope you're wonderful. I miss you. Yeah, you get a little like level up. You get a little level up every month that you stay with me. And I'm so grateful for my super supporters. You guys help me do these videos. You help invest in my small business. And it's just a little chunk of change, but it really makes all the difference in the world. And it really, really help. And oh, Jan, I love having you here. God, I recognize so many names. Look how cute you guys are. Pluto in Sagittarius at 1 degree in the 11th house. Okay, so that's really interesting. One thing that I did not do is I didn't talk about if the eclipse is sitting on a planet. So you have to look at what that planet's purpose is. So for example, the sun is your identity. The sun can also be your father. The moon is your emotions. It's your emotional makeup. It is the way that you love and nurture, right? It is the deepest, deepest hidden part of yourself. Mercury is your mind. Venus is your value system and your money. Mars is your sexuality, your life force energy. Jupiter is your belief system. Saturn is your karmic lessons, where you will kind of tackle your hardest lessons in life. And these are just one word keywords. They mean a whole lot more than this, but you get the idea. Uranus is where you will have a revolution or a breakthrough, where you will be uniquely you. And Pluto is the deep transformation. It's also the wound in your chart. It's the psychological wound. And Neptune is it's the ethereal piece of you, and it is where boundaries are blurred. It's also the place of divine love in your chart too, and so many more things. So if the eclipse is on one of those planets, it's affecting that part of you. So if the eclipse is on your Mars, it is going to affect your energy. If the eclipse is on your soul, it's going to ask you, it's going to affect your identity. It's going to ask you to change your belief system around the way you self-identify, around your soul's identity in the world. So it's a massive shift for you. Let's see. Oh, Michael's having success. I love that. Sagittarius and Pluto. Yeah, so this is going to be Haley Jean says she has Sagittarius, she has Pluto and Sagittarius. And if it's near to that 5 degrees, it has to be near to that 5 degrees. So the farther out it is, the less intense it is. So my sun is at 15 degrees Sagittarius, and this is taking place at 5 degrees. That's 10 degrees. That's as far as I go. So I don't really consider it as like potently on my soul. It's kind of skimming it. So if it's near that 5 degrees, again, I don't go further than 10 degrees on either side, then that planet is activated. So that's the great transformation. So Haley Jean, you're going to go through, I think that was Haley Jean. Yeah. Haley Jean, you're going to go through, or spirit or the universe is going to bring you the ability to transform your life. And depending in what house it is in, depends the subject matter. So you're going to have like a stick of dynamite attached to this eclipse, ready to blow up archaic belief systems. So it's on, Marcella says it's on her Jupiter and Uranus. Well, that's interesting. So this is going to create a breakthrough for you. Spirit might take something away to create a breakdown, breakthrough, right? For you to find your Jupiter higher self. So it's a radical shift for you, Marcella. So you have to figure out where have you, and what house is it in? Where do you need to develop a new belief system in order to have that help, in order for that breakthrough or breakdown to be healthier, to access your higher self? So sky above me, Pluto in Sag in the third house, is about transforming your communication, transforming your mind. That's on the teacher-student axis, learning something new, transforming the way you learn, transforming the way you teach, transforming the way you think, transforming the way you communicate, transforming your voice, write a book, sing a song, right? Use your voice. Don't let your voice be suppressed anymore. If you have Pluto there, you have a psychological wound around the things that you say. Maybe you have stage fright. Maybe it's scary to speak in public. So there's a psychological wound around communication or around learning. It's time to get rid of that and have a breakthrough. That was for sky above me, if you can relate to that. Yeah, so Marcella, it's even more so because Jupiter and the ninth house are very similar. So that is wanting to develop a new belief system. You probably have to rewind this and go back and listen to the things that I said about the third and ninth house axis. Peace lover with Sagittarius in the 12th house with Uranus there. I mean, you could seriously have an incredible spiritual awakening. I hope you go deep into like the spiritual arts, do Reiki, do healing, get a tarot card reading from Stacy, and have Stacy really teach you and show you about energy healing and working with the energy, because you could have a massive breakthrough. But your faith, you're going to have a reason what your faith is going to get shaken, and you're going to have a reason to develop faith. Sagittarius in the 10th house, Nolani, let's see, Nolani, yeah, that's about your career and find the spotlight, right? And so don't let anybody, if your work shifts or alters, just know that there could be a bigger blessing behind it. So you might receive something uncomfortable around not getting an opportunity that you want. Just know that that can break down in order for you to break through and stand in the spotlight and really step into your own authority and taking on your great work in life. Oh, thank you, Jan. And I just cannot recommend strongly enough for you guys to go to soulnavigation.com and check out Susie and Connie Joe and Stacy. And of course, I'm on there too, but you already know me. And book a reading. You can book one for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Everybody has different rates. Everybody has different techniques and tools, but they are amazing. They're mind-blowing, and they will help you with all of this. And I just find that the power of astrology has allowed me to love bigger. It's allowed me to have compassion for people that really frustrated me in my life, my enemies. Not that I really even have very many, but perceived enemies, you know, people who I thought wanted to hurt me. It helped me develop compassion. It helped me deepen my love. It helped me, most of all, I think it gave me a greater sense of self-love. It allowed me to fall in love with the quirks inside of me because I know they're supposed to be there, and I can kind of figure out through astrology why they're there. Um, it also allows me now, as a 54-year-old woman, it allows me to have a great deal of compassion for who I was as a child. And we have to forgive the child in us that didn't mature maybe like we wanted them to, right? I'm speaking of my own self. And so an astrology reading just creates such a deep breakthrough. And on this eclipse, this is a great time for deep self-understanding. Um, yes, and Stacy does incredible. If you have a wound that just won't heal, a broken heart that won't heal, if you've lost a child, or if you want to know about your past life or do even soul cleansing, like she says, Stacy is so brilliant at that. Is Stacy still here? I don't know if she is. She might have had to go. She's on the East Coast. What is the impact of the eclipse if your birthday is tomorrow? Oh my gosh, that is my sister also, Tanya. Um, that's huge. I'm going to tell you, if you have a birthday on the 26th of the month of any month, 25th, 25th, 26th, 27th, if your birthday falls any month on one of those days, this is direct impact. So it means that your life wants to massively level up with a new belief system. You have old tapes running your show, and you have to go back to those other eclipses if you're old enough in, what did I say, 2013? But really and truly, hold on, 2002. Let me just see. Hold on one second. Yes, 2002. That's May 26th, 2002. What was happening? This is a theme song. This is an echo of that, of 2002. If you were alive, if you were born, or if you were old enough to remember. You want to look at that date too and see what happened, because this is a continuation of that same story. And it means that there's direct impact to having a radical shift in who you want to be. Like your whole world is going to change if your birthday is tomorrow. You're standing on the San Andreas, I call it fate line, but it's the San Andreas fault line. For those of you who don't know, you know, American West Coast geography, that's the San Francisco earthquake line, right? And where they say California is going to fall into the ocean. It's just this very fragile quake line, earthquake line. And so that's what this is like. This is like a fate line that's going right directly through your soul. So your soul is saying, wow, I am going to experience a massive change in my life, and it will unfold between now and December. Does that make sense? Yeah, very active year. And the decisions that you make right now, if this is on your birthday, are absolutely critical. You got to make decisions that support your highest self. Divine Virgo. That's Divine Virgo Empress. I love that. She knows her worth. That's great. You'll have to go rewind it and go to the 6th house. Maybe we'll put timestamps on it. So glad you're here, Divine Virgo. Yeah, come be a super supporter. And if you just showed up, we're just finishing, we're just wrapping up. But just rewatch it. There's so much juicy information in it. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tanya. I really appreciate it. Junior, thank you. You guys are so stinking sweet. I'm going to end now. I'm going to go like drink my vitamins and cook my dinner for my darling little girl. I hope you guys are wonderful, and thank you for being here. And please let us know. I want you guys to leave a comment on the actual comment section in the video if you don't mind, and let me know, how did the eclipse go for you? It might not unfold for 2 full weeks, and then you might not understand what the blessing is in the breakdown, tear down, surrender, goodbye, loss, letting go, until much later in the year, like by December 3rd. And I'll be sure to share with you too what happens with me. Aw. Emma's here. Melissa's here. Aw. Love from Issaquah. You guys are so cute. Well, that's a good question, Ms. Jamrock. So I did it on the axis. So with Gemini rising, woohoo, Texas Rain, welcome. We'll send you your perks soon. I didn't do the rising signs. I did it based on what house the moon sits in. So you're going to go back and watch the very first house, because if you're Gemini rising, I talked about if this lunar eclipse is happening in your first house. So I did it a little bit more on the house placements rather than the rising signs. I'm so glad you're a super supporter. You're going to love it. And now you get free access. You get to go binge on all my secret videos right now, Texas Rain. So, exactly, Susie. Okay, I'm saying bye. It's so hard to say bye to all of you. I just love you to pieces. Be good. Take care. Happy lunar eclipse. Let me know how it goes. Leave me a comment. Bye, you guys.